Hello, world. Woo indeed. What is up, man? Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Matt Forte. We are here live at the Build Studio in New York City. You know, long before Marvel made cinematic universes a thing, View Askew was hard at work building a world where regular people fell in and out of love, made a ton of dick jokes, and one time saved us all from a giant poop monster. The Nick Fury of their day, Jay and Silent Bob, were present for every key film until taking off on their own adventure in 2001. Now, 18 years later, Kevin Smith, Jason Mewes, and the gang are all back. Yes, even Ben Affleck, for their hilarious, surprisingly heartfelt flick, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. Joining me now in just a second to talk about their triumphant return, the great Jason Mewes himself is here. How about that, everybody? You excited? They're excited. You hear them? Hooting and hollering. Excitement. I'm super pumped, man. We're going to bring them out in a second. But first, I believe we have the Red Band trailer for the film. So let's go ahead and run that. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Jason Mewes is right here.
Thank you. Thank you.
There you go. Jay, man, congratulations. Jay and Silent Bob are back, dude. How are you doing? How is life for Jason Mewes right now, man?
It's right now it's busy, but it's good. It's been it's either we've been on the road doing stuff, press, and getting ready, shooting this, then doing press for it. And then I'm home with, I have a 4-year-old now, a 4-year-old daughter named Logan. And so I'm home with her, busy and stuff. And then, like I said, I've been doing a bunch of twitching and all sorts of stuff we'll get into, I think.
So didn't they, yeah, we're going to get into everything, man, but this was pretty badass. You have a backpack that allows you to live stream on Twitch from anywhere, is that right?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Kevin got it for me for my birthday. It's an IRL backpack, and it's got the, like, live solo unit. Excuse me, that on my phone, the live solo app, I can like write in what I'm doing, walking New York streets, doing press for Reboot, whatever, and then I can like hit live stream and there's a camera mounted on it. It's pretty awesome. It's been, so I'm either building Legos at home or playing Fortnite, Apex, or when I'm walking around, I walk around with the backpack. Yeah, it's awesome.
I love that Kevin has always been such a like firm believer and supporter of you that technology's caught up to a point where he can just put a fucking camera on you 24/7 and just send you out into the world. And he's not even making a movie anymore. It's just here's a camera for you to wear so I can always see what you're doing.
Yeah, and I'm going to bring it on tour with me when we do the tour because we're literally going like city to city. We're driving or flying and doing, we're going to watch the movie with everyone. And then afterwards do a Q&A, and then we'll do like meet and greet and stuff. But I'm gonna bring the backpack, so like when people aren't in the theater watching the movie or afterwards doing the meet and greet, they'll get to see the process, like the traveling to, you know, Detroit, to Boston, to here. And it's Jay Mewes, JayMewes is my Twitch. So follow it. You can follow us on the road show and such.
That's right. So that's the road show that you're describing. Right now, people in this very moment, they can go to fathomevents.com/reboot because there's a nationwide release. They can get tickets for the 15th and 17th.
Correct.
But you guys are also, in addition to people being able to go see it in their towns, you guys are going to travel all over and do screenings and do Q&As and stuff like that, which sounds both exciting and exhausting. It sounds like a lot.
It is a lot. I forget how many days it is in a row. It's like right before Christmas. All the way up. Well, I think we go from like October to Jersey's the first because we're gonna do our screening in Jersey first, and then we come home for like 4 days for Thanksgiving. Then we go back on the road, and again, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun because I'm gonna get to hang with Kevin a bunch. It'll be fun to go watch the movie with people. I'm really curious to watch the movie and be in the same room with everyone and see their reactions and stuff if they laugh where we hope they laugh. But I have to leave my kid and my wife, which leaving the wife I can do for like 4 or 5 days before I start really, really missing her crazy. Okay. But the kid, it's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. The longest I've been away from her was, I think, 10 days or 11 days.
What was that for?
I went to Australia and I did Comic-Con in Adelaide and then Brisbane, I believe. Wow. So that was a lot of fun too. Again, it's fun. It's like who was I with there? Nathan Fillion was there, I believe.
Sweet.
Am I saying it right?
Yeah,
Nathan. Yeah.
Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, from Firefly and stuff. But and a bunch of other people. So I'm just saying, like going to Australia, hanging out at Comic-Con for a weekend, and then with a bunch of people and stuff. It's fun, but leaving the kid for more than like half a day is really tough for me. So I don't know what I'm gonna do, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Without spoiling anything in the movie, I don't think this spoils anything to bring this up, but I think I spotted Logan has a little appearance in the film, doesn't she?
She does. She does. It's awesome because if you guys have seen Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, the original one, Kevin's daughter is playing little Bob when she was like 3.5, and then it starts off with her standing up doing the F song, singing the F song, and then now whatever years later she's playing my daughter in the movie, and then my daughter got to be in the movie, and so it's pretty awesome.
I want to talk about that in a second, but first, when you found out that there was going to be, like, when you were talking to Kevin, you guys, all right, it's happening, there's going to be another Jay and Silent Bob, that means a lot of work for you, because he writes it, yes, he directs it, yes, I'm not downplaying that, but you're in almost every scene and have 90% of the dialogue, because the very nature of Silent Bob is he doesn't talk.
Yeah.
So when you find out, you're like, that's exciting, but are you like, oh man, that's going to be a lot? Like, what's your initial reaction when you find out you get to be Jay again?
No, I mean, I was excited. I wanted to do it for a while. We were supposed to do Clerks III. It didn't pan out, and then we were going to do Mallrats, and then Universal wouldn't let us do Mallrats. So for like the last 3 years, we've been like amped up. We were ready to do Clerks, and that Clerks 3, and it didn't happen. So again, I was excited to do another movie, and get to play the characters before, I feel like too old. It's like next one, but we wait. Maybe we can do another one really soon after the touring and stuff. But I feel like if it gets any longer, we're going to have to do like Jay and Bob or in a nursing home. Watch all the hijinks and fun. So I was excited to do at least one more because it's been many years. People have been, whenever I go to these cons, like I said, I went to Australia and did cons. People are always like, when's there going to be another movie? You have to do another movie. So I was excited about that, to finally do another movie and people will get to watch it. But it's always a lot of fun shooting movies with Kevin because, for years we did. We did Clerks, and a few years later we did Mallrats, and then we got to meet Jason Lee and a bunch of people on the producer, the DP, and all that was the same script supervisor. It was awesome because when Kevin would do another movie, he would want the same people. So it'd be like we spend 2 months with all these people, and then you don't see them for like 2 years. Maybe like at the premiere for like a night, and then maybe you bump into them. But then like 2 years later, we spend 2 months with them, and then like 2 years later, we spend 2 months. So it's like you go to camp and see all these people. So I just knew it would be fun that we would get to see Jason Lee, and I hadn't seen him in years, O'Halloran, and all those people that I know we would get to see. Plus, then you get to meet all these new people because there's always new people jumping in the Meth and Red. It was awesome. Huge fan, growing up to Wu-Tang Clan and all that stuff. So that was awesome. I hadn't seen Craig Robertson or Justin Long. Again, many people. I could go on and on. But again, it's awesome and so much fun. Getting to shoot a movie with Kevin and play those characters because we get to goof off, spend a lot of time together. But we get to see all these people we hadn't seen in years and spend a day or 2 days or a week with them. So, again, I was super excited. I was very excited. Yes, I knew there'd be a lot of work. But, again, the good thing is my wife, Jordan, is Kevin's business partner and runs the company. So she was going to be on set producing the movie. So she got to come out. My daughter got to come out. And I got to, spend work and spend my free time with the kid and stuff. So it's not like I had to be away. And then Kevin's wife was out there, and Kevin's daughter. So Kevin's wife's in the movie she plays. She's in the movie. Movies, yeah.
Well,
so
again, we're not gonna spoil anything. You mentioned Meth and Red, and I remember that there's this old story. I remember Kevin telling on one of his evening outs of how you went and memorized all your lines. I think it had to be for Dogma because he said that he talked to you about it and you're like, well, I don't want to piss off that Rickman dude. Yeah. Was there anybody here that you were maybe not nervous, but super excited to finally meet, or maybe even a little intimidated? I got to bring my A game, such and such is going to be there today?
Well, I mean, I feel like I wanted to bring I always want to bring my A game, but But no, I guess I was a little nervous the first day we shot in the courthouse because there was a lot of stuff we had to do. We were doing a scene with Justin Long had a ton of dialogue, and I'm always worried that like if I step. Like sometimes someone will be talking, Justin Long will be talking on camera, and you know if we're in the shot, if someone's doing a ton of dialogue and they get through it without messing up, and then you have one line or something, and then I'm like so nervous I'm gonna mess up my one line, and then we'll have to do it again, and they'll be like, well, dude, I was flawless, and you just messed it up. Now I have to do mine again. So like stuff like that. Like Joe was in the scene, and Craig, and there was a bunch of people in the courtroom scene. So, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, I didn't have to do a scene with Chris Hemsworth, but I would have been nervous because Thor, So, but there was there's my kid there. I forgot, but no, it was fun. Again, most of the people I've shot with, I was a little nervous at first with Meth and Red doing the scene with them, but again, everyone was super nice. Super cool. It's a blast. So
what about? So we mentioned this a little bit, man. Harley is your daughter in the film, which, of course, as Kevin's explained, is a very funny reference to a joke where everybody thinks she's your kid anyway every time he posts on Instagram. But in a way, you guys are family. You've watched her grow up. You've been there. What was it like acting opposite Harley, and having her on the other side of that? You guys have some emotional moments in this film. Yeah. That must have been a crazy, wild ride, man.
It's again, there was many days we were shooting where it was super. We'd be doing a scene and we'd cut, and then I would like just step back and just sort of take a moment because it was such a surreal, like. Yeah. It's so crazy because, again, I have known her since she was a baby. And then to see not only her acting, and I'm doing a movie with her that I've been doing for the last 25 years. I've been doing movies. And now, and she's good. So, there's that on top of it. Like, wow, look how good she's doing. And being proud, being surreal that I'm working with her. But I'm glad it's I didn't realize till we were in a bunch of the scenes. There's some moments where I have to get choked up, and I'm not a good actor to be crying or laughing. It's funny, I can't laugh. I have trouble laughing on cue for some reason, and crying isn't an easy thing for me, on camera. So, but it was easy with her because I've known her so long, and I care about her so much. So when we'd be in a scene and she'd start getting choked up, even though she was acting, I'd see her choked up, and it made it easier for me to sort of start getting choked up as well. So luckily it was her in the movie, and it wasn't, whatever, Chrissy such and such or something, because if someone else got choked up and I had to do my choked up stuff, I don't feel like it would have went as well. So, or maybe it would have, but I don't think so. So it made it really easy. But yeah, I mean, the whole experience is, again, surreal. I'm still shocked that we're getting to do the movies, that we did another movie and that we've done this long. It's like we did Clerks, Kevin, a long time ago. I didn't want to act. I was a roofer. I put roofs on houses. My dream back in the day was to own my own roofing company. Kevin said, I wrote a movie and I put a character based on you because I think you're weird and you have a weird sense of humor, and I wonder if other people will find you funny. And then we shot Clerks, but even after Clerks, he went out to edit it, bring it to Sundance, and try to do something with it. And I went back to roofing and didn't even think about it. And then he came home and was like, Sundance, Miramax bought it. But even after that, I still worked my job. And then we went out to Minnesota to do Mallrats. And then I quit my roofing job because I was going to be gone for 2 months. But when I got home from Mallrats, I delivered pizza and did construction, side jobs with my buddy. And I did that all the way up to Dogma. So it's not...
It took that long?
Yeah. It wasn't... something I planned to do was to do movies and entertainment, and I just got lucky, and he wrote me in one movie and 2 movies, and then because of that, I got offered a couple independent movies, and then he put me in a couple more movies, and by Dogma, I've done 5, 6 movies, and I was like, well, maybe I can do this without doing the other stuff. And then we toured with Get Old for 7 years, the podcast. We did Super Groovy Cartoon Movie, and now like I said, I'm on Twitch. I've been doing my own stand-up show called J Muse and His Amusing Stories, which is like stand-up comedy, but it's not. It's just me telling stories about but it is like there's two comedians that there's an MC and a feature, and then I do my hour of storytelling, and they're at the Improv, Helium Comedy Club, and different stuff like that. So it is sort of like stand-up, but that's my other thing too. So
did that take time for you to figure out and find your comfort zone with that? Because as a dude who didn't even want to act and kind of came into this world, now you're in front of an audience doing stand-up and telling stories and stuff like that. How did you figure out that you dug that and you were into that?
It took a long time. I mean, if you go back and watch Kevin used to tour in the beginning at colleges, and he used to do Q&A, his evening with Kevin Smith. He used to sometimes bring me up on stage halfway through, and if you go back and watch some YouTube videos of his college gigs and stuff, I would come up and people would be like, yeah, and I'd be like, so he'd be like, someone ask a question, and I used to be real nervous, super nervous, really short with my answers. Like if someone's like, hey, are you enjoying making movies? I'd be like, yes. Hey, do you how long are you and Kevin known each other? 20 years. Really short, because I'd be so nervous, and it took years and years for me to get comfortable. And then touring with Get Old is sort of really got me going. And that's sort of when I realized wow, this is something I'd like to keep doing, but also do by myself, because Kevin would be like, well, I have 5 other podcasts, so I can't tour for another month. Our next show is in a month and a half. And then I started doing Q&As at Comic-Cons. During my thing would be like, hey, you're going to meet people Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but, Saturday night we're going to have an hour Q&A. And I was doing my own solo Q&As at Comic-Cons, which is my, world and stuff, comics, geeks, and whatever you want to call it. So that's really where I was like, wow, I can do this by myself, and I want to do it more of it by myself. And yeah, so
you're doing all that stuff, man. You got a million things going on, and then this summer you made your directorial debut with Madness and the Method. What pushed you to direct a film after being in front of the camera for so long?
Yeah. I mean, again, it's another thing where I noticed doing movies with Kevin, and in other movies too that I've done. But when I was doing scenes and stuff, no, I'm just kidding. When I was doing movies and stuff, they're like, hey, come to the door, walk up on stage and shake his hand, and that's going to be the scene we're shooting. In my head, I realized I'd start thinking, well, if the camera's over here, how about instead of me coming through the door, what if I come from over here, because it'll look better? And I would make suggestions about my character and what they might do. So I realized, I started seeing things as a director, and then on Clerks II, Kevin was editing, and he was in the zone. Everyone's like, we gotta shoot, and I was like, Kev, let me direct this scene. And it was only an insert. It was where Randall takes the cup with ice and scoops it up from the urinal and gives it to Jay and Bob outside, and I go, man, this tastes like piss and flies. And anyway, Kevin's like, yeah, go ahead. So he let me direct an insert shot, and it was simple. It was just that. But again, even getting to say action and watch it on the monitor and watch the person do their thing, I was like, man, I really want to try this. And I mentioned it to a guy. I was doing a movie in London called Devil's Tower, the producer, and he's like, what else do you want to do? I was like, I really want to try to direct, and I really want to play a different character, like a more serious serial killer type, Hannibal Lecter or something. And he wrote a script and sent it to me 3 months later and was like, hey, I hope you don't mind. I took it upon myself to write this script, and he sent it to me, and I dug it, and it was sort of what it wound up being, except I was like, well, how about this? How about it's like me, but an alternate universe of me, and everyone plays themselves, but different versions, and then he went back and rewrote some stuff and then sent it back and forth, and then I didn't hear from him. We got the script where I was like, this is awesome. He's like, dude, I think we can make this. I was like, yeah, sure. And then he's like, all right, I'll talk to you soon. I didn't hear from him for 4 or 5 months, and all of a sudden he called me up. He's like, dude, you'll never believe it. I got the money to make the movie, and they're going to let you direct it. Bless you. And so Yeah, so that's how it came about, man, and really stoked with it. I was really stoked because I've done some indie movies before where, like, I get done shooting and like and then you don't even hear anything about them for like, and all of a sudden, like 3 years later, literally like 3 years later, people will come up and go, "Oh my gosh, I saw that movie, Silent but Deadly," and I'm like, "Wow, I didn't think that ever come out," you know. Or this other movie I did, Bottoms Up, like it was out for like we shot it, and then 2 years later it came out. So I thought our movie might be the same, Madness in the Method, because again, it wasn't a lot of money, and but it's been they pushed it a bunch, and it played 2 nights at AMC theaters and Universal City Walk. And then also, like right now, it's on Microsoft. You can buy it on Microsoft, Amazon, DVD, Blu-ray. But also, it just had a screening in Russia. Like yeah. So it was pretty cool, man. It's playing a lot more places, and it got out there a lot more, and people out on Amazon and all that stuff more than I expected. So I'm super stoked about that too.
That's pretty amazing, man. Congratulations. The screening in
Thank you.
Russia is wild, dude.
Yeah, right. It is. They
That's
were
nuts.
they were like, "Hey, can you shoot this intro? Because you're not going to be there." But yeah, they had a big screening in London, and in Russia. So
I would say this, and it's interesting too, hearing like, I want to play somebody dark, I want to do something different, and that's kind of also sort of part of the plot of the movie as well. Like you kind of amplify that and make that you want to do that. I would say this movie more than any other one. By the end of it, Jay is a different character than when we start with him. Like he goes on a huge journey in this movie and ends in a different place. Kevin, I think, tweeted or put it on Instagram maybe like 4 hours ago that you guys talked to Jeff and that Clerks III. Like it's happening, it's gonna happen.
I've been all over the place, and people keep telling me that. I'm like, I haven't seen that yet.
He posted it online. He's like, "We're definitely doing it. It's coming." And the first thing I thought of was like, now that you know that it's happening, are you excited to take like this version of Jay someplace? Like, he's a dad now and all these different things. It's a slightly different version of the character that you've been playing for all these years.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Kevin writes now, especially because he already had written a Clerks III script, and I know he's not going to be using any of that.
It's going to be different.
Yeah, because it's years later. He said he feels like it's a different story now. That one would have been so much fun. There was some stuff that I know he said he didn't like that years later, realizing like, oh, I would never write that ending or that opening now. Some like bad stuff happens. But like it would have been a lot of fun because there was some stuff set up to where there would have been like 100 extras. We would have got to like hang out for like a week. Anyway, it's hard to explain, but I'm curious now, him having an idea for Clerks 3 and then being like, hey, I'm going to not use any of that, but now I'm going to start fresh. So it'll be fun. I'd be stoked. I mean, again, I feel like it would be fun to do at least one more. Especially because now we also have our own. I don't know if we're allowed to mention. We did this like signing. We have the movie. In the movie, they have 3 strains of.
Yeah, you guys got your own. Release for real. Like
we have our own. We have our own
weed. You have your own branded weed.
Snugin, Snoochie Boochies, and Berserker, and it's like an indica, sativa, and a hybrid of weed, and it's pre-rolls, and they're in a tube, and it's awesome.
Did you ever thought that, like, when you guys were filming Clerks, that one day the weird shit that you were saying that he put you in the movie for would not only become catchphrases, but now you're selling your own strands of weed with those catchphrases.
And in the movie back in the day, we used to sell it outside of the store, and now we can. So it's like I had no idea.
Yeah.
No, I had no idea we'd be still doing the movie. Again, you see, we're not even on the Clerks poster way back because it's like when they bought the movie, they're like, Kevin's like, I want to keep the Jay and Bob character, the rights to these characters, and Miramax was like, yeah, I don't care. The movie's called Clerks. It's about the clerks and the girls. Yeah. So luckily that the studio felt that way because otherwise, they might own the rights to us. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, no one really talked about us. One magazine or article talked about us, Jay and Bob out front. And it really wasn't until Mallrats came out and was on DVD that I feel like people started being like, oh man, Jay and Bob. And so, but yeah, getting to meet Stan Lee way back then and working with Alan Rickman and Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher. I had no idea. It's still surreal to me when I step back and think about it. So
Crazy, man. Well, we're going to take some questions. I think we got at least two, right? We're going to do at least two from the audience. I just want to remind everybody that if you head over to fathomevents.com/reboot, you can get tickets available 15th and 17th, October 15th and 17th for the nationwide release. Head over there and get some tickets. And keep an eye out for the road show. And what's your Twitch again? Yeah, I got you.
Just kidding. J Mewes, Jaymewes.
Jaymewes.
Jaymewes. My name, really, but J Mewes. It's all my socials and my Twitch. Thank you.
Perfect. No worries. All right, let's get to those questions. We got microphones in the room. First one, do it up. Come on down.
Hello.
Hi.
I wanted to know how you and Kevin, I know you guys were friends before working partners, but how do you sustain that friendship as well as a healthy working partnership all these years?
Oh, I think we've had a weird relationship always. Because again, when we first met, I was like 13 and he was 17, and for years, I was sort of like the obnoxious, irresponsible kid, and then I got into drugs, and some bad stuff happened there. So it's always been like an older brother, younger brother. So I feel like we were able to keep a relationship because the friendship / like older brother dynamic going on. And then as we got older, I feel like in the past, since the podcast especially, we've gotten really close. I think part of it is because we've spent so much time together, and I don't lie anymore about little things. In the podcast, we shared everything on the podcast, so then we got to learn more about each other, and we spent every day together for months touring. And I just think there's no ego involved. Like, again, I always joke, like, I don't know what I think I just said this in the last one, but I'll joke like sometimes we'll go somewhere and they'll give, if me and him are doing the same show, they'll get him sometimes like the 2-floor suite and they'll give me like a normal room. And I'll joke around and be like, bro, it's Jay. And so why don't I get but when it comes down to it, I'll joke, but I don't really care. I'm like, you're Kevin, you wrote it. It's like, so I think there's no ego involved. And I know that like you hear a lot of times like this band broke up because this person had a bigger bust than this person, or so. But I don't think any of that ever. It doesn't bother either one of us. We don't have egos about it. But also, I think my wife, again, I keep mentioning her, but she really does. She runs the company. She gets me to where I need to be, and Kevin, and like sets us up. Like it's been a really cool relationship the last 5-6 years of him and I are being business partners, and her really running things, and just spending so much time. So I think again, ego and just like we're like brothers, but best friends, partners, and so.
Thank you.
It's a great question.
Thank you. It's a good question. Very good.
For what it's worth, when Kevin was here, we put him in the same exact green room you're in. So you guys, yeah.
Please.
But Harley's coming in a little bit. We're gonna give her the bigger room.
She's got the 3.
She's gonna get, she's getting the bigger room.
Which makes sense. She's got the 3-floor suite with the roller coaster and that. No.
Can I do one more? I want one more question. Microphone.
Hi there.
You are.
Hi.
Hi.
You mentioned catching the director's bug, and I was wondering if you had any upcoming projects you can talk about.
Oh, I wish I had another project. Right now, there was nothing. There was like one thing that was going to happen, and then they lost the location, and it was in like, so I'm still waiting. It hasn't died completely, but it's still like, I don't know. The problem is I feel like a lot of times people will make offers to either be in their movie or, hey, we're making a movie, we want you to be in it and direct it or whatever. And then they're hoping to get money, and then things don't work out. It's not easy. But right now, there's been like one offer for me to direct something. But I'm hoping, honestly, something comes up. But I would tell you, right now, it's literally like 2 months of the road show, and that's all I have planned. Really, I stopped doing we stopped setting up Comic-Cons. I was doing that, like a few of those a year, the musing stories and stand-up. Mainly it'll be Twitching and in the road show, so. But I will definitely, again, if you follow my social media and stuff like that, I'll post this. If I get a job or anything, I'll let everybody know because it'll be exciting, so. Thank
you so much for your question. All right, we're going to wrap things up. I'm out of time. I got to get out of here with you, man, and let you go to your next big thing.
Thank
but
you.
I want to thank you again, Jason, so much for hanging out with us and sharing all these stories. Congratulate you on this film, man. It is so funny, and it's so amazing to see everybody back together again. It is a fantastic ride. I'll remind everybody watching at home, JAYMEWES. Follow this man. That's all his social medias on Twitch. He's got the backpack. You're going to be able to see him everywhere, so you should follow him. And then also, if you're going to check out the flick, head to fathomevents.com/reboot and get tickets now for the October 15th and 17th nationwide release. I think that's everything.
Thank you.
That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, make a ridiculous amount of noise. This is freaking Jay right here. Jason Mewes.